I kind of have been in the real estate sphere for a long time now, a long time, dealing with a bunch of property managers going to their job sites. In essence, I worked with a supplier that supplied a lot of building supplies, right? So it's mostly going to job sites, trying to see who has what. So if you go there and you see, for instance, a brand scarf, you want to try to get that appliance business from that investor. If you walk in their job site and you see locally here we got 48 lumber or something, you probably want to get that business. Hey, why are you getting your lumber from there? You see Pella windows. My supplier didn't supply Pella windows at the time. We did, like, I think Anderson or something. So why are you getting your windows from Pella? How can we beat that? So in essence, that's what I was doing. Or you see, like, in paint, you see, what are the paint companies around here locally? But you get the idea. Wow, I'm shocked these companies can't come to mind. I remember seeing their buckets all the time in some of these job sites. Sherwin-Williams, you see all these other paint companies. Now you want to get their paint business. So in essence, I was working with these technically developers, but they're not like massive developers. They mostly build single family homes, fix and flippers, right? But they do it at a pretty efficient level, 10 houses, 10 projects at a time. So I've done that for a little while, dealing with these contractors. And while I was in there, you like to just stay up to date in the industry. I was watching this documentary, but it was mostly focused in Canada. And you know how documentaries are, they talk about different things, but then they honed in on this one lady as the primary example of the documentary. And her thing was, she was trying to sell her home for sale by owner, and they kind of investigated, they had hidden cameras in her property and neighboring properties that were less or even better than hers, things like that. And they showed realtors that were staring. It just says, as it says, you're staring. You're kind of, there's a specific definition, when you take your real estate exam, but staring is literally, as it says, you're staring your client into a specific direction for whatever reason that may be. If you're staring your client for their best interests so they can possibly save money, get the home they desire, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're just doing your first duty as a realtor, right? You have their best interest in mind. Right, I think it's fiduciary duty, but you have their best interest in mind. You're making sure they get what they're paying you for. You're helping them to as much as you possibly can, because when it comes to legal aspects, as a realtor, we're advised to stay away from that. You may give not only legal but also in areas where you need to be trained. For instance, you can say, "Oh, I see a leak here." You can't go give plumbing details about the plumbing of the house. That's not your area. You advise your client, "Hey, I'm suspicious there might be some issues here. Let's hire a plumber to come look at this," right? Or roofing, I think the roof may need some work. Let's hire a specialist to come look at this, get a second opinion. You need to kind of have a feel for it. And that's, I think, it's kind of funny how things all play over time. That's a little bit of a plus that I kind of thank God I have now. And I wouldn't foresee it. I remember walking as a salesperson, going to these builders that are flipping $1 million properties in Washington, D.C., and I don't know anything about the building process, how a house is built, and they pretty much buy the house, they gut it out. Like in Washington, D.C., you got to keep the front of most of the buildings because they're trying to keep the historic look. So you can buy the house. There are townhouses, a row of them. So there's a wall and there's somebody living on this side, somebody living on this side. But on the middle section, it's just that front wall. The entire back has been gutted. If you go back there, literally what's holding that front section up are like lumber, it's planks leaning down against the ground. So that guy purchases that house, tears everything down, and he's building the house from scratch, in essence, a brand new house, just with that old front. And then we had to go in there and try to sell them concrete, everything. Was there anything we couldn't supply? I really doubt it. Drywall, windows, doors, doorknobs, everything. We were just trying to. But some of these contractors would say, I don't want to give all my business to one company, you know. I want to be able to shop around for deals. Understandable. So imagine you going to people that are building 10, 20 houses. You're going to sell them product. They're going to ask you questions as though you're a professional, you know. And you go there, you can't answer these questions. So I shadowed one of my mentors, and she was a very nice lady. She's been doing it for a while. And she sent me this. She was the one that kind of sent me these documentaries to watch. She sent me a documentary about, she likes it. It's a very old documentary, talks about the building process, what goes down first. She actually sent me the videos on my phone so I can know step by step how a house is built. Because when you encounter these contractors, sometimes they expect you to know. If you came to my job site, does the plumbing go down before you lay the foundation? Or do you lay the foundation first? Or after you put the plumbing, you lay the foundation, what's next? Is it wiring? Is it drywall? Are you building the frame? The reason why they expect you to know that, sometimes they're expecting you to kind of be looking for those products, because as suppliers, we didn't supply everything. Obviously, we're like an intermediary. Some things we created, but most of it is like you're outsourcing to vendors. So they need you to be talking to these vendors already to kind of line them up so their job doesn't get stalled. Because these house flippers are like on time. They take a loan, sometimes hard money loans from those that are just starting out. And the longer they take completing these house projects, the more interest rate they pay, you know. So I actually ran into one of those guys. Was it 2 weeks ago? He was so happy to see me, gave me a big old hug. He said, man, the market has slowed down. We completed 3 houses and we did open houses and we didn't have any showings, you know. He said neighbors came through because they were curious, but actual buyers that were interested in buying these houses didn't show. This was actually like 2 weeks ago. I ran into one of those, not the top guy, but one of the main guys I was dealing with. His cousin owns the company, and it's a very family type thing. So his cousin got him to oversee all the project managers and the contractors, because unfortunately contractors normally are not, you know, not everybody, but some of them weren't so genuine. You know, they'll steal like faucets. Some of those faucets cost $200-$300, you know, and you buy 10 of them for all these houses you're building. You store it in one of the properties that is almost semi-finished, and then a few of them walk out the door. Or they will just drag their feet in how fast they work, because they normally get paid by the day or by the job, or don't know how they get paid, their pay structure. But in essence, dragging the work out, stealing property. So he was the guy that was accounting for all of that. And I dealt with him more so than the top guy that owned the company. The guy that owned the company, I actually only met him once in the years I dealt with the company. And I was in the sit down where he was talking to my superiors, but I had to be there because I was the point of contact with the other gentleman I'm talking about. He was the point of contact with our company, so we both had to sit there. You know, you kind of know, the two of us know each other more. We know what's going on. My superiors they don't know the intricate details about that account, and vice versa. He doesn't know all the intricate details about the transaction with us. So I only met him one time. But the other guy that was the lower level guy that did all the project, oversaw all the projects, I dealt with him all the time. And I saw him a few days ago, and he was just telling me, hey, this is what's going on in the market over there. I say all that to say, that knowledge there of knowing just how to build a house, like literally just going, when you go to a project, it's completely just dirt, right? And some trailers, some caterpillars, some concrete pallets. And then you're actually selling this guy everything from that process. Then you see the pipes go down and the framing, then, the drywall, insulation, all of that. Then, electrical wires get ran. You see the whole process. Well, the frame and electrical wires, then they put the drywall. You see the whole house form. It just kind of helps now as a realtor when I walk into a house and I can say, hey, there's something here. But I can't say I know what's wrong, because then there can be a legal issue, right? So I said all that to say that in essence. So it kind of helps, and I never knew the path, how things led. For instance, I was, dealing with a buyer last week and buying a brand new home. Come to find out, the agent for that developer, massive developer, probably one of the biggest single family developers in Maryland. I see their signs all over. Like, they buy acres upon acres of land and just build brand new homes. Excuse me. So dealing with the buyer who went over there, when I was just interacting with the rep for that company, turned out he was a real estate agent for like 10 years, and now he's working for him. He's actually a broker, a licensed broker right now. So you never know what one path may lead you into another. All things are kind of woven together. So just looking back, being a real estate agent and going into a house, you can see things that may be wrong with a house, and you can kind of give an opinion, but when it comes down to a fact, a stated fact, you need to refer it to a professional. Anyway, I say all that to say, this ongoing lawsuit, that particular job led me